This was one of the toughest training sessions the dog trainer had ever encountered. It took a whole 3 hours just to put on the muzzle. During the training, the dog repeatedly bit the male owner, causing multiple injuries. In the end, the trainer had no choice but to resort to more forceful methods. When the female owner witnessed the harsh treatment of the dog, she couldn't bear the intensity of the trainer's methods. The female owner even had extreme thoughts. At one point, she couldn't stand to see the dog suffer even a bit, even if it meant the dog would be euthanized the next day. This episode might make your blood pressure rise due to the extreme level of pampering the female owner showered on the dog. It truly went from one extreme to another. Lei was adopted by the female owner when he was only a month old. Since the dog was separated from his mother at a young age, the female owner felt a deep sense of guilt towards Lei. In order to compensate for the lack of maternal love, she spoiled Lei excessively. The name she chose for the dog also implied that Lei was not ordinary. At 5 months old, Lei already inflicted facial injuries on people. As a result, he was sent to a training facility during his puppyhood. Upon returning, the female owner's love for Lei soared once again. She would meticulously select extravagant food for the dog. Lei, however, never ate the pork belly, kibble, or eggs in his bowl. He insisted on eating from the owner's table, with the owner hand-feeding him.
밥을 안 먹을 수 있죠. 안 먹으면은 치워버려야 되는데 이제.
After meals, the female owner would even buy exclusive milk for Lei. Since Lei didn't like getting wet, the female owner hadn't bathed him in 3 years. Countless pampering gestures like these were showered on Lei. The female owner believed that her love could bring about a change in Lei, but the dog's biting issue became increasingly severe. Whether outside or at home, Lei exhibited strong aggression towards strangers. If the owner tried to intervene, Lei directed his anger towards her. Most outrageous is that now, when the female owner goes out, she needs Lei's approval. If Lei is in a bad mood, he blocks the door and doesn't let the female owner leave.
다 어떻게 하냐고, 다 죽을 것 같다고 지금 주저앉았어요. 그냥 울면서 막.
With things having come to this point, the female owner still believes that she hasn't done well enough, attributing the issues to not taking the dog for walks often. The dog trainer, seeing this, is already feeling uneasy. He isn't afraid of difficult-to-train dogs. What he fears most are dog owners with an excessive sense of compassion. Often, they give up on training midway and don't follow the trainer's methods afterward. The trainer can only have the guest go over to console the female owner. When Lei sees a stranger, he still aggressively lunges forward. The guest questions why the dog isn't wearing a muzzle, but Lei's barking is so loud that they can't hear each other. At this moment, the trainer notices the expression on the female owner's face.
여자 보호자님 지금 강아지가 캑캑거려가지고 걱정되시는지 물어봐 주세요.
이 심장이 빨갛게 출혈이 돼서 좀 겁나서.
우리들의 고막은 신경 안 써주시냐고 물어봐 주세요. 그럼 우리들의 고막은 신경 안 쓰이세요?
그냥 딱 잡고 있으니까.
Upon hearing the female owner's answer, the trainer's face turns as dark as the bottom of a pot. He then asks the guest to leave and quickly rushes to the dog owner's home. Lei, still relentless, barks fiercely at the trainer. At this moment, the trainer suddenly takes off his coat and throws it at the dog. The trainer directs the male owner to step back, picks up the clothes from the ground, and throws them at the dog again. In fact, the trainer is testing the dog's reaction speed, allowing him to avoid danger in subsequent training sessions. Facing the trainer's provocations, Lei surprisingly calms down. Inside the house, the trainer instructs the male owner to put a muzzle on the dog. Lei, seeing the muzzle, immediately avoids it. Now the male owner needs to spin in place and then command the dog to sit, with the rope in his hand pulled taut. However, the female owner wears an extremely distressed expression because her husband's strength is increasing. When the muzzle is close to the dog's mouth, Lei suddenly bites. At this moment, the trainer also notices the male owner's hand, which is covered in numerous scars. The trainer can only encourage him to continue. The male owner tries to put on the muzzle again, but seeing the dog still not cooperating, the trainer walks towards the door. To prevent more serious accidents and injuries, the trainer takes out the ultimate tool, a noose, originally designed for dealing with wild animals. Watching the noose approach, Lei directs his anger at the male owner again.
보호자님.
Even with the extreme tool in use, the process is still full of obstacles. Lei Lei begins to struggle vigorously. Now the trainer is also in a dilemma. If he tightens it too much, the male owner might be attacked. But without the muzzle, training cannot proceed. He can only continuously remind the male owner to be careful. But as fate would have it, the dog tilts its head and bites his hand. The trainer can only instruct the male owner to tend to the wound first, then takes the leash into his hands. Suddenly, Lei Lei launches a surprise attack. The trainer skillfully evades its assault, using both hands to grip the leash, keeping the dog outside the attack range. The one-on-one confrontation between man and dog is gradually escalating. With force, he throws the dog again. Lei Lei, now tense, becomes surprisingly quiet. The man in front of him gives it a strong sense of threat. Next, the trainer brings out a specially made leash. His actions become more pronounced, leading Lei Lei to the balcony. He ties the leash to the railing. Lei Lei's howls instantly escalate. The trainer also picks up the news from the sofa. What exactly transpired on the balcony is probably only clear to those present, as the balcony railing not only collapses when the dog comes out, but Lei Lei's mouth also spills a large amount of blood. At this point, Lei Lei's throat emits wild fox-like cries. The trainer controls the leash, constantly suppressing the dog, but he also has to pay attention to the dog's mood. If the dog's emotions are too excited, he needs to offer some comfort. Similarly, the trainer also observes the expression of the female owner. At this moment, he stops the training. At a crucial crossroads, the male owner begins to persuade his wife. Seeing the female owner nod, the trainer and the male owner once again challenge putting on the muzzle. But the dog's resistance remains unabated. The trainer seizes the collar and forcefully controls the dog. They move to the living room. Just as the muzzle is about to be put on, Lei Lei bites the male owner's finger again. The male owner's finger immediately starts bleeding. The difficulty of this situation cannot be adequately expressed in words. Blood from both the owner and the dog is scattered on the ground. The main trainer has no choice but to call in an assistant trainer. They press the dog to the ground, and the dog erupts into an unprecedented struggle. Its fangs even manage to damage the muzzle. Now the main trainer cannot afford to lose this confrontation. If he harbors thoughts of giving up, Lei Lei will immediately unleash a stronger attack. The three dog trainers tried repeatedly, and the female owner tried to avoid the unbearable scenes over and over. At this moment, she can hardly hold on. Meanwhile, they tied Lei Lei's mouth with a rope after a confrontation that lasted for 3 hours. Finally, Lei Lei wears the muzzle. Due to the dog being covered in blood, the trainer suggests giving it a bath. Interestingly, with the muzzle on, the dog seems sealed, showing no resistance during the cleaning process. Instead, it behaves quietly and obediently. After coming out, the trainer says that now Lei Lei thinks it is the owner of the house. The next step is to make it recognize that the owner is the ruler of the house. The male owner takes the dog to every corner of the house first. Lei Lei is very obedient in the hands of the male owner, following commands promptly. However, when the leash is handed over to the female owner, a different scene unfolds. Lei Lei clearly resents being controlled by the female owner. Each step seems heavy, and every time it passes by the male owner, it stops by his side.
지금
아빠 쪽에 꼭 멈추네요.
아마 이유가 있어요. 우리 저 아빠 보호자님이 아마 조금 더 듬직해 보여서 그래요. 나한테 애정을 많이 준 사람보다 나를 지켜줄 수 있는 사람을 훨씬 더 선호해요.
Hearing this, the female owner feels a pang of sadness. The years of emotional investment seem to have gained her a wolf in sheep's clothing. She has always firmly believed that providing more love would improve her relationship with Lei Lei. However, the reality is quite the opposite. From this moment on, the mistress has made up her mind. She becomes more decisive in controlling the dog, striving to show her strong side. Although she may be somewhat unskilled in certain aspects of control, she is putting in the effort to change. Subsequently, the dog trainer invites guests again. With the muzzle on, Thunder no longer barks or howls. The mistress issues commands, and the dog obediently complies. They then go out for a walk together. Previously, the husband used to avoid crowded times to prevent the dog from attacking strangers. Even though they rarely went out during the day, the dog behaved well when they did, staying close to the master. The dog trainer said Lei Lei should wear a muzzle regularly, at home and outside, for gradual change. The key is the female owner not pampering as before. After training, the trainer, uneasy about the dog, called the male owner, who reported significant changes. The trainer stressed the need for long-term formal training, found a reliable center, and advised the couple. They sent the dog for learning. Months later, the trainer checked on Lele, finding a non-aggressive expression, raining genuine,